Hello everyone, welcome to 8085 microprocessor lecture series. This is lecture number 6 and we are continuing with the architecture of 8085. So in the last lecture we did the bus structure of 8085. Now we are starting with 8085 programmable registers. So these registers, they are available to the programmer. This registers are mentioned here. We can see here we have register A, okay, which is also called as the accumulator. It is of 8 bit, okay. It is a 8 bit register. Then we have register B, register C, register D, register E, register H, register L. All these registers are of 8 bits. And then we have the stack pointer register, which is of 16 bits, and the program counter register is also of 16 bit. And then we have the data bus, address bus. Okay, data bus is, of course, as we know, it is 8 lines and bidirectional, and address bus is 16 lines in unidirectional. And then we also have the flag registers. So these things were already discussed in the lecture number 3, so no need to discuss it again here. Now next thing what we have is the memory. Okay, so memory is one of the very important component of any microcomputer or microprocessor system, how it is accessed. So here this diagram, it represents a 1-bit memory cell. So here it is a D flip-flop. So D flip-flop is as good as a 1-bit cell. It can store 1-bit data at a time. So how does it work? Here we have this enable. Okay, so here we can say this enable is as long as it is 1. Generally we connect a clock here. So if this is 1, as long as this is 1, it will function normally that input is 0, output is 0. Input is 1, output is 1. So as long as it is enabled, it will give the data accordingly. When it becomes, this becomes 0, so it will not respond to the inputs, and it will give the output which was previously at the output before we disabled it. Now here what we see in this case, here we don't have any control over the input and the output. Whatever comes here, as long as it is enabled, it goes inside and it comes outside. So there is no control over the inputs and the outputs. So what we do, we introduce some control over here. So as if we compare these two diagrams, we see there is some control introduced in this case. So here we have, this is the something we have introduced some control here. The extra circuitry we have added here, these two circuits are added. Now what is the function of this two? So this particular device is called as a buffer. We will study in afterwards, but now we have to study the function of this buffer. So this buffer is enabled, it is a WR bar, so it is active low. So as long as this is 0, so whatever input we apply, if we give input as 1, this input goes inside and the data is stored inside. As long as this WR bar means write, so this signal write, if we want to store the data, we have to make this as 0. So as long as this is 0, whatever data we give, it gets stored inside this 1-bit memory cell. So this is, therefore it is write, okay, and it is active low. Then suppose if some data is inside this flip-flop or this memory cell. So suppose this data is 1 inside the memory cell, and we want to read the data. So of course it is always enabled, and we have to enable this read signal. We have to read. So if this becomes 0, so this buffer gets enabled and this data comes out, this one. So here what we see, as in case we have some control over the read and the write operation. So whenever we want to store some information, we have to enable this buffer. Okay, write buffer, and we want to retrieve the information. To read the information, we need to enable this particular buffer. So this is just a 1-bit memory cell. Generally the information comes in the form of we store the information in registers. So register is just a collection of flip-flops. Okay, like here in this diagram what we see, there are 4 flip-flops connected together. So you can see this one flip-flop, the second, the third, and the fourth. So there we have 4 flip-flops. So this is actually a 4-bit memory cell. This is a 4-bit memory cell. Here the inputs are given. Suppose we want to store some data, like I want to store 1001. I want to store this data into this register, a 4-bit register. So first the thing, we have to enable this write buffer and disable this read buffer, and we have to enable this flip flop, this memory cell. So when this is 0, so the information gets stored inside the flip flops or the memory, or this memory register. And when we want to read the information, suppose we want to read the information, what we have to do is we have to enable the buffer. So we have to make this as 1 and this as 0. So whatever information inside, it will come out to this buffers 1 0 0 1. Now to simplify this particular diagram, we have this particular diagram of the same above register. Okay, so this is more simplified view. Instead of drawing all the flip flops, we have a simplified view. Suppose we want to store some data like 0 0 1 0, we have to store this. So we enable this buffer, the information gets stored in this register, 4-bit register. Then we want to, if we want to read the information, we disable this buffer and enable this buffer by making this as 0, and we get the information 0 0 1 0. So this is how it works. Okay, so we started with a single 1-bit register, 1-bit memory cell. Then we extended that idea to a register, 4-bit register. Now here we have 4 registers, so we can say this is a memory chip. Okay, this memory chip, it has 4 registers, and each register is of 8-bit. So this is the interfacing we have. This is the memory chip, which I'm marking. This one is the memory chip. This memory chip has 4 registers. So this is the input buffer, which can enable the write operation, and this is the output buffer, which enables the read operation. Because it is 8-bit register, so we have 8 inputs and 8 outputs. Now because there are 4 registers, we need to select one register. So we need to add some more decoder. Here decoding part is there, which will actually, it is responsible for selecting one of the 4 registers. If we don't have this, then the data will be stored in all the registers. So we want to store the data at only one register. So the very first thing is how to select the register. So this decoder, 2 to 4 decoder, it selects one of the registers. Now here we can see this A0 and A1. Okay, these are the address lines. Now because we have 4 registers, so we need 2 raised to x. So this x is the number of address lines. So 2 raised to 2 is 4. So because the number of registers are 4, so we need 2 address lines. So 2 raised to 2. So number of address lines required are 2. So 2 raised to 2 is 4. So this is the number of address lines which are required in this case. So now how do they function? If you want to select this, so if this address lines are 0 0, register 0 is selected. For 0 1, register 1 is selected. 1 0, register 2 is selected. 1 1, register 3 gets selected. Now suppose we want to write some data. We have some data, we want to write some data in register 3. So what we will do, we will first select this particular register by putting this 1 1 here on the register, on the address bus, this address lines, and then enable this write buffer, and whatever data is at this input, it gets stored here. So okay, this gets stored in this particular register. Now suppose if you want to read the data from a particular register, okay, if you want to read the data from a particular register, say we want to read the data from register 1. So in this case, we will make this as 0, this as 1, for because of which register 1 gets selected. We enable this buffer by making this as 0. So whatever data is here, it comes out. So this is how the memory cell function, this memory functions. Now here this is just we have 4 registers in this case. We can extend the idea to more number of registers. As we can see in this diagram, there are 8 registers. Okay, in this case we have 8 registers. So how do we do the selection and how the things work here? So as we know, because we have 8 registers, so the number of address lines, this x, because 2 raised to 3 is 8, so these are, we require 3 address lines because there are 8 registers in this case. So we have 3 address lines. Now this 3 address lines can have 2 raised to 3 as 8 combinations. So when this address lines are 0 0 0, R0 gets selected, 0 0 1, R1 gets selected, 0 1 0, R2, and so on. Suppose we want to write some data into register R6. So this is 1 1, we have to put this 1 1 0. So this R6 gets selected, and if you want to write the data, we disable this buffer, enable this buffer, so whatever whatever inputs are coming at this point will be stored in R6. Okay, so this is how it works. Now next we have two memory chips to select. So each memory chip is having 4 registers, each register is of 8 bits. So here in this on the left side we have a memory cell which has 4 registers, R0, R1, R2, R3, and on the right side we have R4, R5, R6, R7. So in all there are 8 registers, but they are in 2 different memory chips. So to select this 4 registers, we need 2 address lines, A0, A1, and the same are connected here, A0, A1. So when A0, A1 both are 0, 0, what happens when both this A0, A1 both are 0, 0? Okay, so this R0 also gets selected, R4 also gets selected. So we need to select any of the two memory chip, any of the two register, not both. So there is a provision in every memory chip. There is a chip select line, chip select. You can see a CS bar. So this chip select line, okay, it either enables the memory cell altogether or disables the entire memory cell. So this chip select line, as we see, it is active low. This is active low. So what we do, we add some extra one more address line, A2. This A2 is directly connected to chip select and through NOT gate to another chip. So suppose if we make this as 0, this as 0, so of course this also both become 0. So this gets selected and this gets selected, but now this A2 will decide which chip to select. So if we make this as 0, this 0 makes this chip select enabled, and this 0, because of NOT gate, it makes this as 1. So this chip is not selected, so we only get R0. So R0 gets selected. So the combination is 0, 0, 0, 0, R0 gets selected. Now suppose we make some different combinations and select some different chip. So if we make this as suppose 1, and now we make this both as 0, 0. Now because of this 0, 0, even this and this both get selected, but this make this 1, because this one it goes to the chip select directly, so this chip is not selected, and this one through NOT gate it make this as 0, so R4 gets selected. So this is 1, 0, 0. So this is 1 and 0, 0, for which we have R4. So this is what we do to select the chip. In case if we have multiple chips in our system, then we need some extra circuits to select those particular chips and select the particular register inside the chip, so of that chip. So this is the required interfacing. As we see, there are 16 address lines of microprocessor 8085. So out of this 16, we connect 8 to this memory chip, as seen here. We connect the first 8, this one, A0 to A7. There are 8 address lines. So this 2 raised to 8, they can identify the 256 registers. And now because there are 16 lines, so we are left with 8 more lines from A8 to A15. Now we cannot left them unconnected. So what we do, we connect all these lines to a 8 input NAND gate and connect it to the chip select circuit. So this is what we do in this case. Now let us see the memory map, what memory map we can create in this case. So I will write all the address lines first, starting from A15, okay, in reverse way, A15, then 14, then 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, and so on. We need to specify what address they can take, what combinations they can take, that we have to specify. Now all out of these address lines, this lower address line from A0 to A7, they are connected to this registers, 256 registers. So they can have any combination from all zeros to all ones. Okay, we can have any combination from all zeros to all ones. So the very first combination would be all zeros, all the 4 would be 0. So when all the 4 are 0, the very first register is selected, okay, and so on. We can go on just incrementing, and the last combination what we get in this case is all ones. So this combination of address lines from A0 to A7, they can go from all zeros to all ones, and because of which any of the register is selected. Now the remaining address lines from A8 to A15, because they are connected to the NAND gate, and to select this chip the output of NAND should be 0, because if it is 0 then the chip select gets activated. So this has to be compulsory 1, and to make this as 0, sorry, this has to be 0. So to make this as 0, all the inputs should be 1, because for a NAND gate, okay, if we have a 3 input NAND gate, the output of NAND gate is 0 when all the inputs are high. So if we have 8 inputs, when all the inputs are high, then only output becomes 0. If any of the input becomes 0, output becomes 1 and the chip is not selected. So this A8 to A15, it must be compulsorily be put to all zeros. No other combination will select the chip. So let us make this all as 0. This all I have to 0. Okay, we cannot change them, so they will remain 0 0 until all this combination also becomes 1. So this will remain 0 only. Now let us check what are the address map. We use the hexadecimal coding, so we have to make a group of 4. So this group of 4, this group of 4, this group of 4, and this the group of 4, and then again the last address, this is the group of 4, this is a group of 4. So if we know the hexadecimal, if we convert this into hexadecimal number, so this 0, this 0, this 0, this is 0, and this last one, the last address, this is actually this is 0, this is 0, and this is F, and this is F. So in this case, the memory address map, we have to specify the memory address map. So the memory address range, the memory address range is from this range. It starts from 0 0 0 0 to 0 0 FF. This is the required answer. This is what we have the memory map. Okay, so we draw the circuit. This is the diagram. Okay, the interfacing diagram, and the calculation part is given here. Okay, so you can even try this. I have taken 2 5 6 registers. You can also try, we can also try for let us take like 512 registers. If there are 512 registers, then what will be the address map? You can try it. You can also have 1024 or maybe 2048 registers. So we can see how many address lines are required, and remaining they will go to the NAND gate. So that's all for this lecture, this session. Thanks for watching.